If this found you, it's not an accident. There's something in your life that keeps repeating, and a part of you already knows what it is. Maybe it shows up in your relationships. The same emotional patterns, different faces. Maybe it's in the way you react to stress, or how quickly your mind goes to doubt, fear, or overthinking. And even when things seem to improve, somehow you end up back in the same place. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because there's something deeper that hasn't been healed yet. And until it is, everything around you will keep reflecting it. You might feel tired of trying, tired of fixing things on the outside, hoping something will finally click. You've read, learned, maybe even practiced manifestation or mindset techniques. But there's still this quiet tension inside you. A subtle discomfort you can't fully explain. A feeling that something is off, even when everything looks fine. That feeling matters more than you think. Because what you're experiencing isn't random. It's a signal, a reflection of an emotional imprint that has been living in your system for a long time. Something that didn't start today. Something that your mind learned to carry and your body learned to repeat. This is where most people misunderstand change. They try to create a new life while still being emotionally connected to the old one. They focus on what they want, but unconsciously feel what they fear. And your mind doesn't respond to what you say you want. It responds to what feels familiar. So if your system is familiar with stress, it will recreate situations that trigger stress. If it's familiar with rejection, it will interpret neutral moments as rejection. Not because it's true, but because your brain is wired to recognize patterns it already knows. This is what keeps you stuck in loops. Not your thoughts alone, but the emotional state behind them. Over time, your body begins to memorize emotions. It becomes conditioned to feel a certain way, even without a reason. And once that happens, you're no longer just thinking your emotions. You're living them, reacting from them, making decisions through them. This is why logic alone doesn't break the cycle. You can understand everything and still feel the same. Because the real shift doesn't happen when you think differently. It happens when you feel differently. And that brings us to the part most people avoid. The healing. Not the kind that looks dramatic or overwhelming, but the quiet, honest kind. The moment where you stop trying to escape what you feel and allow yourself to see it clearly. Because the truth is, what needs healing isn't your life. It's the emotional wound shaping how you experience your life. And that wound is not a weakness. It's a memory, a stored experience that your system never fully processed. Maybe it came from a moment where you felt unseen, or rejected, or not enough. And instead of being released, it stayed. It became part of how you interpret reality. So now, when something small happens, your reaction feels bigger than the moment itself. Because you're not just responding to now. You're responding to everything that moment represents. This is why healing changes everything. Not because it fixes the outside world, but because it changes how you meet it. When you begin to heal, you stop reacting automatically. You create space between the trigger and your response. And in that space, something powerful happens. Awareness. You start noticing your patterns without becoming them. You see the emotion without being consumed by it. And for the first time, you have a choice. This is the shift. This is where your life begins to change. Not all at once, but in subtle, meaningful ways. You pause before reacting. You question old thoughts. You feel something new in situations that used to drain you. And slowly, your external reality begins to reflect that internal change. Because your life is not responding to your effort. It's responding to your state of being. So when your state shifts, your reality follows. Not instantly, but consistently. And this doesn't require perfection. It requires presence. A willingness to stay with yourself, even when it's uncomfortable. A willingness to feel, without immediately trying to fix or escape it. So let's make this real. Right now, take a slow breath in. And as you exhale, notice what you're feeling. Not what you think you should feel. What's actually there? Maybe it's tension. Maybe it's restlessness. Maybe it's something deeper. Whatever it is, don't push it away. Just observe it. This simple act begins to break the pattern, because you're no longer reacting unconsciously. You're becoming aware, and awareness is the beginning of healing. Now gently bring your attention to your body. Where do you feel this emotion? Your chest, your stomach, your throat. Stay with it for a moment. Not to change it, just to feel it. This is how you start to release what's been stored. Not by forcing it away, but by allowing it to move through you. And if your mind starts to wander, that's okay. Just come back, again and again. This is the practice, not perfection. Just returning. And if you want to take it one step further, you can introduce a simple affirmation, not as something to convince yourself, but as something to gently guide your awareness. You might say quietly, I am safe to feel this. I am not this emotion. I am here. Let those words land softly. No pressure to believe them instantly. Just let them exist alongside what you're feeling. This is how you begin to rewire your internal state, not through force, but through repetition and presence. And over time, something shifts. The emotion loses its intensity. The pattern loses its grip. The reaction loses its power. And in its place, you begin to feel something new. Calm. Clarity. A sense of space within yourself. This is what changes your life. Not chasing a perfect future, but healing what keeps recreating the past. Because once that pattern dissolves, you no longer attract the same experiences. You no longer respond in the same ways. You become someone new without forcing it. And your life reflects that. So if something in you feels ready, not rushed, not pressured, just quietly ready, then this is your moment. Not to fix everything, but to begin, to listen, to feel, to heal. And if you want to keep exploring this deeper, there are more layers to this journey, more patterns to understand, more awareness to uncover. So subscribe to the channel, not because you have to, but because something in you wants to understand more. And if this resonated with you, watch the next video. Because the moment you start paying attention like this, everything begins to change.